Highland Workforce Development and Education is proud to present this parental education video. It is one in a series that will provide helpful information on current topics that relate to your school-age children.
Today we are talking about the importance of good communication with our children and how to keep our children talking to us as they enter the teen years. How we respond when our children are talking is so important. It can have a profound impact on the way our children interact with us. As parents, we want our children to know they can talk to us about anything, and we want them to be comfortable in doing so. Therefore, we need to be approachable and willing to engage and listen while they're small in order to encourage them to continue talking to us as they grow older. How do we do this? I want you to think about a few questions for a moment. Who is the person you talk to most often when you are having a problem, worry, or disappointment? What is it about that person that makes them your first choice? For just a moment, I want you to pretend that you were going to see a counselor. Would you continue going to them if when you went with a worry they responded like this? Well, that is just silly. That's completely illogical. Why would you even worry about something so silly? You are making a big deal out of nothing. Or if you went to your friend with a disappointment. I've just been really down since I got passed over for the promotion. I have a hard time going to work and dealing with my friend who got the job. What if your friend responded like this? Well, Jackie, you are just going to have to get over it and move on. Life doesn't always work out like we want it to. It's full of disappointments. It's not going to do any good to wallow in self-pity. What you need to do now is try working a little harder so maybe you can get the next one. How likely would you be to want to share with your friend or counselor if they responded in that way? Yet so often we respond this way to our children when they come to us with a concern. For example, our kids sometimes come to us when they're having a problem with friends and may say something like, "I am so upset with Taylor. We had a fight the other day and she has been totally ignoring me." As a parent, have you ever responded like this? "Well, I never really liked her anyway. You'll be better off without her in the long run. Didn't I try to warn you?" What about when our children come to us with a concern about school? "I didn't do well on my math test. I am so stressed out about my grade." Most parents have probably responded like this before. "Well, I have told you and told you, but do you ever listen? How long did you study? Seems like you always have to learn the hard way." What if instead you responded calmly with, "Well, what do you think went wrong? Do you think you prepared enough? What can you do differently on the next test so you can bring it up? What would you want your grade to be at the end of the term? What will it take to get there?" You are not only encouraging your child to feel comfortable talking to you, but you are also helping them learn to problem solve. We all have the need to share and express ourselves in a non-threatening, non-judgmental place. Growing up can be wonderful and difficult all at the same time. Childhood and adolescence can also be a time of confusion and conflict as our children navigate to discover who they are and where they fit in the world. I don't know about you, but I personally want my children to know that they can come to me with anything. I would much rather my children come to me than feel like they have to go to their friends or someone else when they are dealing with problems or stress. Let's look at some tips for keeping the conversation going. Number one, make your kids a priority. When you are picking up from school, turn off the cell phone and the radio to allow a space for conversations. This really applies to any part of your day. When our kids need to talk to us, we need to make sure they know they are important enough to stop what we are doing and give them our undivided attention. Number two, monitor your facial expressions and body language. Give yourself the okay to wait 10 to 15 seconds before responding to allow yourself time to compose. Remember, silence is golden. Sometimes when you respond too quickly, you may say things you will later regret. Even if on the inside you are screaming, keep your expression neutral so your child feels you can handle whatever they have to share. Number three, withhold judgment and criticism. There is no place for that with good listening, and it will shut down the conversation a lot of times before you get to the heart of the matter. Use phrases like, "Okay, tell me more." "Then what happened?" "Okay, Well, how did you feel about that? Number 4, put yourself in their shoes. How did you feel at their age? It is okay to share stories when you have had a similar experience. Don't always make it sound like your life was perfect. Number 5, resist the need to fix everything. This is harder for some personality types who are just natural problem solvers. It will take practice. Help them to think about their options and choose the best one. Walk through possible outcomes and praise their good choices. We want to teach them how to think and not just what to think. Number 6, affirm that their feelings are normal and okay. Don't try to downplay what they are telling you. Let them know that you have heard them and that you understand. Use statements like, I can understand how you would feel that way. I'm sorry that happened. Number 7, always end on a positive note. Allow them to ask questions. Is there anything else bothering you that you wanted to talk about? Number 8, consider your tone and your timing. Choose a time when you are both ready to talk. Is there a better time of day? Right after school and work may not be the best time when you are both tired. Allow some time to get home and regroup before tackling serious talks. Now let's take a look at mistakes parents can make that will shut down conversations with our children. These are things we need to avoid. Number 1, interrupting with questions. Often we will learn a lot more about our children if we allow them to speak without interrupting or leading with questions about the event or situation. We should always remember to be slow to speak and quick to listen. Number 2, mini lectures or mini lectures. As parents, our inclination is often to lecture our children or turn everything into a teachable moment. There is a time for that, but if our kids feel like they are in for a lecture every time they come to us, they may choose to go to someone else who will simply listen. Like adults, sometimes our children just want to feel heard and have their feelings validated. Number 3, the blow up or freak out. Sometimes when our children share shocking news with us about themselves or one of their peers, our first response is to freak out or blow up. In doing so, we may inadvertently make our children feel like we can't handle the truth. Give yourself time to compose your thoughts so you don't freak out about what is being shared. We don't want our children to feel there is anything so big that we can't work it out or find a solution together. Number 4, judging friends or judging you. Avoid statements that could be interpreted as judging. I can remember several occasions when I told an adult about something a friend had done, and they immediately made a judgment about my friend when maybe they didn't have the whole story. I made a mental note not to tell them anything about my friend again. Always take time to get the whole story and avoid making judgments based on a single event. We can shut down communication real quick by voicing our opinions too quickly. Number 5, criticism. How often as parents we point out all the mistakes our kids make. We need to make a practice of praising them for the positive things they do so they know we trust them to make good choices. When your child does make a mistake, and everyone does, choose your words wisely. Help them to recognize where they could have made a better choice in order to get a better result. Number 6, rash conclusions. Sometimes we are motivated by the need to protect our children and may make rash statements such as, "You will never hang out with them again." Again, make a point to compose yourself before making any declarations you may later regret. We want to keep the door of communication open so that our children always feel safe to come to us. We want them to know we can handle what they are sharing calmly without losing our cool. Number 7, no trust. Trust is so important in good communication. As a child, if I feel my parents never believe me, or if I feel that everything I share will be shared with someone else, communication is not likely to occur. Our children also need to understand how important it is to be truthful with us so that we are able to trust that what they are saying is true. Good communication can make or break our relationships with our children. It is important that we lay the groundwork early so that as our children enter the teen years, the patterns of good communication have already been established. But it's never too late to apologize for mistakes we have made and have a conversation about starting over with some ground rules in place to create a safe environment where our children can talk to us about anything. There is no one more important in a child's life than a parent. And without good communication, it is very hard for us to guide our children through the many choices and decisions they will be faced with as they grow into young adults.